Hello and welcome back to Are You For Real, the podcast.
Where we're always real. We're your hosts, Alayna, Grace, and Caroline.
And today our topic is a bit more serious as we're going to be talking about mental health.
And I'm super excited because we're not just going to talk about mental health in general, but also our own experiences.
And that's scary to talk about. I mean, even as I'm speaking now, I'm nervous, but I think that shows something about how much people hide their mental health.
Absolutely. And even today, when people at least seem to be much more open about mental health, I only ever hear people talk about it in the past tense. And then the minute that somebody says something about their life that's maybe ongoing, everybody seems to just shut down.
Yeah, it's so sad that even in the 21st century, people feel like they need to act like everything's fine. And like Caroline was saying, even when they open up a bit, they act like it's over and the problem already occurred and was fixed. But mental health is an ongoing battle.
Oh, for sure. People act like mental health is a switch that you can simply turn off. Today, we're going to talk about our own experiences dealing with mental health issues and how we attempt to overcome and face them each day. So personally for me, in the category of mental health, I feel like I've struggled in the past with panic attacks. And my most memorable one was probably one of my first ones that I had freshman year of high school. I was in the middle of biology class, and I think it was like nearing finals week. So I had a lot on my plate. And I remember being super stressed about a test or an assignment or something. And I remember leaving the class with my phone and going to the bathroom and just calling my mom and talking to her. And I remember her soothing me and just giving me advice to calm myself down.
And it's so good that you had somebody that you can talk to about that with. Like your mom was that person for you because a lot of people don't have somebody to be there for them.
Right, and I kind of went through a mental health issue earlier this year, and luckily I had these two to help me through it, but I had a lot of friendship troubles, and it was just really weighing my mental health down. I just felt so down about myself, and really just, it was a battle to get through each day, but I think having that support system is so, so important, and ever since I've dropped that negativity from my life, it has made all of the difference, and it's just been such a drastic change that I'm so grateful for.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like everyone talks about mental health and like ways to get through it, but like I feel like what people need to touch on more is having the people around you. Like even if you're not naturally a social person, like having people around you to support you is what's really going to help get you through your struggles.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that we could be there for Grace during that time because it was so
Agreed.
hard, and it's so hard to see your friends going through that. And then when it's yourself going through it, sometimes you don't even realize. Something that I've struggled a lot with is perfection and the strive to always be perfect and get everything right. And I'm a golfer. This occurs in my golf game every day. It used to be so bad that I was like paralyzed with fear. I'd stand at the golf ball and I'd be going back, and then I would shank the ball, which is just a miss. You completely miss the ball. There's all these things that happen. Or in school, I'd be taking a test, and then all of a sudden, I need to be perfect. I need to be perfect, and then it ruins it, and you get so in your head that nothing else matters. And I'm learning about this in psychology right now. Grace, you're in my class, but we're learning about imaginary audience, and it's when people feel that everybody else is watching what they're doing and judging them, and that is something that I've really struggled with. I always feel like people are watching me, people are judging me, and I worry about that, and then it makes me do weird things, it makes me mess up, and you're so in your head, and that's something that I really want to improve on.
Yeah, me too. And I sometimes even hide my true personality because I don't want to be perceived as loud or crazy or annoying. And I just need to get over that fear and just be myself because I think it would be a lot easier if that's just what it was.
I know, and the stupid thing about that is that everyone is too focused on themselves to even be worrying about your insecurities half the time.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, but something that I've realized is that I'll be talking and I'll be comfortable with somebody, and then I realize, Caroline, you're being so annoying right now. They probably don't like you. And I'm thinking and I'm saying, oh, you need to stop talking. You need to shut down. And so then I just don't talk at all. And people are probably wondering, well, what just happened? A second ago, she was so happy. But in my head, everybody's thinking, I want her to stop talking. I want her to be quiet. And nobody's thinking these things. It's crazy that we all are so in our heads that we don't even realize what's going on around us because we're so worried about how other people are perceiving us.
No, I so get that. I'm also like a huge overthinker. And so I get those thoughts a lot like, wait, like, are these like people annoyed by me? Yeah, that happens to me for sure.
I completely understand.
Okay, but let's switch gears to talk about how the media impacts mental health.
And we're not talking about social media, at least not just yet. Right now, we're talking about the media as in television and the news.
Yeah, mental health has been an issue for millions of people throughout the world since literally the beginning of time. But sadly, only until our generation have we felt comfortable enough to address this issue that almost everyone faces, especially like in the media and movies.
And even our generation isn't totally open about it. Right now, I'm watching this show on Apple TV. It's called Shrinking, and it's about a couple of therapists, or shrinks, hence the name Shrinking, and their lives. And even though it's just a fictional show, the way that the characters interact with each other and open up about their feelings is so new to television. And I read a couple of articles about how just watching the show has worked to push people to reach out and get the help that they've so long needed.
Yeah, I think it's so cool that television can inspire people to find their voice and reach out when help is needed. On the contrary, I remember when my mom was telling me about the Bing Crosby show she watched when she was little and how everything in the media was surface level. I remember her saying the topic of mental health would never be touched, and if it was, it would be highly controversial. And I'm so glad that new shows like Shrinking let people know their lives don't have to be perfect to be happy, and therapy isn't something to be ashamed of. I think a majority of the media and older generations thought of mental health as a curse or something shameful, when it's honestly the opposite. Even now, some people are still looked down upon because of their mental health and are scared to speak out.
Yeah, and it's so hard to understand other people's struggles when the stereotype around mental health is taboo and they don't feel comfortable sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on from that side of the media, let's now talk about social media. Like TV and movies, social media is another overused medium that our generation abuses and fills their mind with, negatively affecting their mental health. The power of social media is polarizing the country and the world politically. I mean, it's literally brainwashing people into believing that their lives should be picture perfect, just as what they see online.
Yeah, and this develops into eating disorders and depression that just opens a whole Pandora's box of issues.
The worst part is that pages online will showcase eating disorders as desirable, making it seem like being severely underweight is what someone should strive for. We see this in Vogue, Cosmopolitan, and on every influencer ever's social media pages.
Mm-hmm. Speaking from my own experience, when I scroll through Instagram Reels and TikTok videos of perfect girls, I feel insecure about specific features of myself, and it leads me down a rabbit hole of self-doubt. It's terrible.
Honestly, even now after scrolling for too long and seeing girls that look just right, I feel terrible. And that's not fair to myself. I mean, so much goes into a post, posing, editing, lighting. And just because someone looks one way online, that doesn't mean that they're the same as reality.
And all these influencers like Livy Dunn are improving these situations by editing pictures and making girls feel like they have to strive for the same unachievable beauty. The odds are is that they're experiencing the same feelings of self-loathing as we are, and it's selfish to feed into others' insecurities to make you feel better about yourself. All this shows how important and prominent the talk of mental health needs to be.
Think about how much of a difference it would make if people didn't feel shame in their own bodies or shame about their own feelings.
And we've talked a lot about how influencers can feed into these mental issues, but sometimes they can do quite the opposite. Somebody that I really have enjoyed listening to and watching her videos and seeing her pictures is Alex Earl, because for a while I thought, wow, Alex Earl, she's just like with the rest of them. She's posting these pictures of herself. But then she started her podcast, fellow podcast girl, you know, we have to support each other. And it's called Hot Mess. I don't know if you guys do watch it.
Yes, I do. And on that podcast, she shared her acne journey, and she was so transparent about it too. She shared the struggle she went through, the medication she's on, and how much happier she's been now that she's gotten, you know, the medical help she needed by dermatologists, but also it really helped her mental health.
Yeah, and I love when influencers are more vulnerable and open with their audiences and showing that they're not just these stereotypical people like we've talked about.
Another influencer that does this is Spencer Barbosa. I hope I'm saying her last name right. But she's really cool because she talks a lot about body positivity. And I know there's been a lot more influencers like that. But I think she's truly in it, not just for the views and to get the fame. But she's in there to be good for teenage girls. And that's cool. It's empowering.
She's the type of person that wants to be there for her audience. And she's trying to give them hope and educate them that it's okay to look how you look, like you were born how you were born. And that's perfect. Like you were made perfectly.
Yes, and it's so helpful to see that not all of the influencers are perfect. Everyone edits their pictures, everyone does all this, but the ones that are transparent are truly the ones that can help regular people like us.
Yeah. And a lot of influencers are going into it and they're knowing that that might not be the way they're going to get the most followers, but they're just going to be do it to be good. And then they end up, that's the people who do get the most followers. That's people who are liked the most.
Yes, and those are the real girls of Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, the ones that are transparent and real with their audiences.
Exactly.
And if you guys don't know what a girl's girl is, it's been this, not a trend because it's always been around, but saying, are you a girl's girl? You're really there for your friends. You're not the one who shies away or acts like they're weird when you're in public.
Right. Not just dressing for the male gaze or cutting off your friends for another boy. It's really just being loving to all women.
Yeah.
We love a good girl's girl over at Are You For Real? But that's all we're going to cover today. So if you or someone you know needs help, please don't be scared to reach out to a friend, family member, or the resources listed on our Instagram,
which is at RUFR_the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow.
We'll be back next week for another episode, but until then, stay cool for real, gang.